Hi, welcome to my complete Phainon guide. Phainon is the newest 5-star coming in the first phase of version 3.4. He is looking like a super cool DPS that literally breaks the game. In this video, I'll be going through everything on how to build and play Phainon, covering his best Lycorns, Relic sets, Planar ornaments, teams, and many more. Before we start, at 7k subs, I'm giving away 2 supply passes / welcomes to my subscribers, so make sure to subscribe. Starting things off, how does Phainon's kit work? Phainon is a 5-star physical unit following the path of destruction. His skill does damage in blast and gains 2 stacks of core flame. His talent makes his ultimate cost 12 core flame stacks instead of the standard energy, while 3 extra points can also be stored and gained after exiting ultimate form. Additionally, Phainon also gains a core flame stack whenever any unit, friend or foe targets him, with his teammates also giving crit damage. His ultimate deploys a field and transforms him into Kevin Kashlana. Anyways, during this day, other teammates temporarily leave the battle, all enemies gains physical weakness, and he has 8 fixed turns. When it is his last fixed turn, he additionally launches a special final hit attack. During his turns as Kashlana, he also gains new abilities. His new talent gains 4 stacks of Bruise, freezes any buffs applied by allies, and he is immune to crowd control while gaining an enhanced basic attack and 2 enhanced skills, but with no ultimate. During this state, his stats are increased and he gains HP after attacking. If he is killed during this state, he will instead launch the extra final hit, scaling off of the amount of fixed turns left and end this state prematurely, while also increasing all ally speed after exiting. His new basic attack deals damage in blast and gains 2 Scourge stacks. His first new skill gains Scourge stacks based on the enemy count. This stack reduces damage taken, then it makes the enemies take immediate action so that he can launch a counter attack when hit. His second new skill dispels all debuffs and nukes all enemies, with the damage spread evenly and increased when consuming 4 or more points of Bruise. And last but not least, his technique increases max technique points to 8 but costs 2 technique points to use. It attacks in a range, gaining energies for allies, Scourge stacks, and 1 skill point upon battle entrance, while instantly killing normal enemies like Acheron. Now moving on to his bonus choice abilities, the first gains 1 point of core flame on battle start and 3 points on ultimate state exit. The second, when he is healed or shielded, he gains damage dealt increase, and when he gains energy, he instead gains 1 stack of core flame. And the third increases attack on battle entrance and ultimate state exit. These are his bonus stat boost, featuring some nice crit and speed, and for his traits leveling priorities, realistically it's genuinely everything this time, as he uses everything in his kit, so aiming to max out everything is ideal. Damn, that was a mouthful. As you can probably tell, this is the most complex kit in Star Rail, but thankfully most things in his kit are still quite self-explanatory with a thinking cap on. However, there is still one thing that I want to go over, and that is how Kashlana's fixed turns work. TLDR, his ultimate fixed turns scale off his base speed. As of patch 3.4, even with his signature Lycorn, he is still not able to use up all 8 turns in the first phase of MOC. At best, he's able to end and do his final hit move early in the second cycle, but that is still very unrealistic. However, with future supports that increase base speed, this may change. So overall, Phainon is looking like, first and foremost, one of the most awesome units in terms of design and animations, paired alongside some really good damage potential that will be improved in upcoming patches. We have ourselves probably one of the best design units overall. Phainon's core gameplay loop slightly differs from other DPSs. Of course, in the beginning, you are spamming skill, then ultimate, but as Kashlana, you want to only use his second skill, the meteor skill, when you have at least 4 Bruise stacks. And his first skill is more niche, so generally, you're most likely gonna be juggling between his enhanced basic and his second skill. So with that absolute yap fest out of the way, here's how to build Phainon, starting with his best Lycorns. As always, his best in slot will be his signature Lycorn. This features base speed increase, defense ignore, and damage dealt increase. Coupled with an absurdly high base attack, this is his best Lycorn by miles. Not only does it give some invaluable buffs, it also increases base speed. And as you guys can recall, his ultimate state fixed speed is dependent on his base speed, so this and his E1 is so far the only way to increase it. In addition to the fact that they could very likely make a base speed increase support increase only just enough so that you need S1 Phainon to complete the ultimate state in the first cycle, this is probably one of the most valuable signature icons in the game. But again, this is just speaking for extremely low cycle clears or 0 cycle clears. So other options are still most definitely viable, like other signatures, for example D-Heals, Jinlu, and Sabers. D-Heal is a nice stat stick as you do basic attacks in ultimate form. Jinlu's can work as well as Phainon wants to get hit and is gaining HP, and Sabers is also like D-Heals, a pure stat stick for cheaper such 4-star alternatives. The brand new Destruction Battle Pass Lycon is really good as well, and of course the typical S5 Aeon. However, if you really are the options, S5 Secret Vow and Clara Lycon can be decent placeholders. Now moving on to Phainon's best stat breakpoints and main stats. For breakpoints, you want to first choose to either run him slower or +1 speed of an action advancer. Conveniently though, if you have his Lycon without any speed substats, he only needs speed boots to get to 136, which allows 135 for action advancers, so speed should be pretty easy to figure out. But if you're planning to go slow, running 2 action advancers is usually recommended. Other than that, the usual DPS stats like attack and crit are what he uses, so getting those to a good amount is good. Again, conveniently though, with his best teammate Sunday, you're looking at a base 37% crit rate, so slap a crit body and get that to 100% is ideal. Which, speaking of, his best main stats are crit body, speed/attack boots, physical orb, and attack rope. Crit body as he is a crit DPS, and it can honestly be either, really dependent on your substats rolls, but ideally, getting his rate to 100% is your first priority. Speed and attack boots, as you can choose to either go slower or +1 speed of an action advancer. Physical orb, as it gains an absolute abundance of attack to the point of diminishing returns if you have attack orb, and attack rope, as energy rope totally works on him. That was a joke by the way. So with the stats out of the way, here are Phainon's best relic sets and Planar ornaments. His best in slot relic set will be the 4-piece Wave Strider set. As soon as this set was released, it was speculated that it was Phainon's set, and now we have the confirmation. Just off synergy alone, this set will be his best set as it just gives him even more crit rate and attack, as he can keep a full uptime on this pretty easily. But 4-piece Scholars is a decent placeholder until you can probably farm for a 4-piece Wave Strider. As for his Planar ornaments, his best in slot will be the brand new Arcadia set. Upon first glance, this feels like a Memo Sprite team only set, but due to Phainon literally such deleting his teammates from the battle during his ultimate form, this set actually activates as only one target on the field, so he gains the maximum bonus, which is really strong. Routinely Arena will be a good placeholder, again just so that you can farm for his best in-slot sets. As for both Relic and Planars, his bids are really just that much better than the rest. Next up are Phainon's best Eidolons. E1 increases his ultimate form speed and crit damage. This might sound like it fixes his fixed action issue, but unfortunately it does not, and he already has an abundance of crit damage, so it's really not that strong. E2 is a nice physical res pen, paired with an extra turn as Lana. This is a much better Eidolon, but it still doesn't address his main weakness, so it's just a direct DPS increase. E3 and 5 are just trace levels. E4 is some nice counter-attack damage increase, and E6 uncaps his core flame stacks, and it gains 6 core flames on battle start, while also buffing his second skill in ultimate form. Again, a very strong DPS increase, but it still does not address that his team need a lot of action values to gain his ultimate in the beginning, and how he can't finish his ultimate before the first cycle ends, so it's nice but not that nice. Overall, an okay selection of Eidolons. It is all very nice, but nothing addresses his main issue, and nothing really stands out. So with that said, E1 vs S1 has a clear winner this time, and it is S1. Even though both do not allow 8 ultimate turns in the first cycle, the sheer damage buffs in his Lycon are just too strong to miss out. And last but not least, Phainon's best teammates and teams. Starting off, I want to highlight 2 types of teammates for him. The first are action advancers, so Sunday, Bronya, Sparkle, and to an extent Robin too. As you can probably guess, the only reason why these units are so valuable to Phainon is because they all have an action advance on a targeted ability. So that means that he is able to gain more turns, which is more core flame stacks, but also gain even more stacks as it is targeted towards Phainon. For Robin, she is very similar, but instead it's an action advance for everyone instead of one unit. So both Phainon gets a turn and someone like Sunday gets a turn. So it's actually in fact like 3 action advance turns for Phainon, which is very strong. But since she has it pretty infrequently, it will show glaring weaknesses if the battle gets prolonged. And the other type of teammates I want to mention are non-traditional buffers. What I mean by this is that Phainon, through his innate kit, relic sets, and his teammate relic sets, will gain an abundance of the standard DPS stats already. So units that buff these attack and crit are usually not as good as units that buff in areas that Phainon is not abundant on. So units like Cypher, Tribi, and RMC are the prime options in this area. They all avoid stuff like attack and crit, but rather have their unique special buffs. But that also means that they aren't usually a perfect fit for Phainon, as Cypher doesn't really buff, Tribi is still HP skiller, and RMC's MEMS turns are a bit dank to perfectly speed tune. However, Phainon just has so much attack and crit that even with these flaws, these are still some of his best teammates. So with that out of the way, the best teams of Phainon start with Sunday, Robin, and Cypher. Yep, you heard it right, there is no such thing. The reasoning behind this is that you basically should only have one unit on the field, being Kaslana, and he heals himself while being extremely tanky. So ultimately meaning that a sustain, even with the major traits that increases damage dealt with a sustain, more core flame generating and more damage buffs is usually more important than that. Of course, some of the best variations include RMC over Cypher, Tribi over Cypher, Bronya over Sunday, and Sparkle over Sunday. And for more free-to-play options, Yukon and Runmei are both great options as well. And of course, for prolonged fights / hard fights, running a sustain is still more than viable. So yeah, that does it for the Phainon guide. I am very excited to pull for him and play him as I think his animations just look so damn good. Apologies for the late video, life has been giving me quite a bit of lemons. I've gotten sick of making and drinking lemonade, so I've been eating them as of late.